bloody roasting, innit? It's absolutely boiling. My energy is gone. It's zapped from sitting up here. I've got the window open to try and aid me in all things temperature-wise, but it's not exactly helping. I am absolutely knackered. And I feel like the energy from... I was waiting all day to do this stream, and now that I've actually sat down to do it, I'm like, Christ, do I have the energy? But we'll get there. We'll survive. Through the blazing heat, I'm sure that we will manage to do it. I don't like that. I don't like that. What's that about YouTube? Yes, sort it out. Stuart, thanks for no notifications. That is terrible. It's absolutely roasting. Yeah, it's nice to see you all. Welcome along to the channel. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. We've got the new camera plugged in. I'm hoping things look okay and are synced up okay. If not, then rest in peace, I suppose. But we're here and everybody seems to be having a good time in the comments. It's nice to be back after Celtic's game yesterday, the return to Celtic Park. We drew 2-2 with Blackburn Rovers, and we've got quite a bit to cover today in this live stream, including transfers mostly. I'm also going to be taking a Q&As, of course, from yourselves as the stream goes on. But I think a good place to start is from yesterday's game. And if you were there, let me know what you think of it. What did you make of watching it? By the way, from Austria, I love that, Joe. What a commitment. I hope you're enjoying Austria. I don't know if you live there or you're on holiday, but enjoy. Yesterday's game. Listen, I didn't do any post-match reaction because it's only a friendly. I wasn't too fussed. To be honest, cut to the chase. Me and the boys went out for a couple of jars after the game to celebrate being back at Celtic Park. So I thought, you know what, I'll miss it out today. We'll be back for the normal, as the season goes on, we play Aberdeen and everybody else. That sort of content will be there. Don't you worry about it. But I thought the game was decent enough. Good first half. And I know it was kind of a shock straight away when Blackburn scored about 20 seconds into the game, but Celtic responded very, very well. And while we played our best team in that game, I thought that we never gave Blackburn a sniff. We were all over them. They couldn't get into the game at all, and we were just going forward, getting chance after chance, controlling the tempo of the game. And yeah, Jota was having fun, wasn't he? He was taking the absolute piss. That rainbow flick in the second half was just, oh my... disrespectful to an extent, you could say, but he's just too good for this league. He's too good for anybody. I know it's a friendly, but he's just too good. Wonder how long we'll manage to keep a hold of him. But no, listen, it was a decent enough experience being back in the state. I think the only negative I can think of being back at Celtic Park yesterday was those new prices in the canteens, or whatever you want to call the kiosk stalls. The prices are mad. £3.13 for a pie, £3.13 for a Coke as well. What's the 13 pence all about? My theory was it's something to do with the card machines and maybe they have a fee or a cost or something like that. But everybody was, putting a shift yesterday. I think we've seen obviously the drop in standards as the B team came onto the park and as more players, more first team players left the park. But we still played decent enough. But they had us camped in for the last 10 minutes. Blackburn really did go for it after they got the equaliser. They had us camped in our area. We were kind of struggling. Lawal looked a little bit nervy. Julian looked slow. I think defensively we were just kind of holding on for the last 10. But listen, as always, as I say with these friendly games, I don't take too much of it seriously. It's of course good to kind of see something and snippets of players and what they could potentially offer and etc, etc. But I think in general, it is a friendly game. It's a training exercise. We've got 2 more of them now, and hopefully we go and win the 2 of them against Legia and Norwich next week at Celtic Park. But at the end of the day, as long as the real results and the real performances come against Aberdeen and come against the other teams in the league, then I'm not too fussed on how we play in these friendly games. Yeah, a decent enough turnout yesterday, I suppose. Not much to write home about. Anyway, that's that. We've covered yesterday's game. I think that's the reason I didn't want to do a sort of match reaction. You see, I've been lucky so far, whereas the friendlies I've sort of done the live streams, so I've just managed to sit through the game, enjoy it and have a laugh. But I feel like when you get to these friendly games and then I need to go up the road and do a match reaction, there's not an awful lot to react to. You know what I mean? I've just wrapped that up in a couple of minutes there, and I feel like I've said everything I have to say about the performance and about the game itself, because it's not that serious. And it's great, obviously. It would be good for me to sit down and do 10 minutes of a conversation in regards to the entire game, but I just feel like over-analysing it would be a bit pointless. So that's why I never bothered. That was one of the reasons. That and pints were calling my name. Anyway, there's 230 people in the chat just now, or in the stream. Thank you all very much for joining me this evening. It was amazing being at Celtic Park yesterday. Absolutely tremendous. let's talk about the news then. Let's talk about the big things in regards to Celtic. And I'm going to pull up an article. And I feel like a Joe Rogan podcast. Pull it up. I'm going to pull this up to aid my stream just now. This was the Glasgow Times who reported this last night. Postecoglou is happy where his squad is at the moment, but hopes his patience is rewarded as he looks to add some extra quality over the next few days. You're definitely going to add players, a couple of players, he said. Yes, a couple, not just one. We're going to add a couple of players, he said. We're working on that, but would expect to do that in the next 7 days. We had to be patient, and that was much more important than rushing. I'm confident we're close to the end point and bringing in a couple which will help. Pardon the seagull that you can probably hear outside. The squad is looking really good, but in days like today, we want to make sure we don't lose our effectiveness when a couple are missing. So there you go. Ange all but confirming that Celtic are in the market for a couple of signings this week. I didn't really expect that sort of update after yesterday's game. Of course, I've been hoping that we will sign more players, and I've been hoping this entire time that we would go out and announce somebody or would be getting linked with somebody. But I just didn't expect it to be right after that game yesterday. By the way, thank you very much to Elias, by the way, £5. $5 loving the show from Fiji. That's a first. Never had anybody comment in from Fiji before. Brilliant, up the hoops, that's it exactly. So, yeah, I expected, of course, Celtic to make some signings. I expected Celtic to add a couple more names, and I think if you go back to one of these streams a couple of weeks ago, I said personally that I thought Celtic would add 3 more names. I thought 3 more signings was all but guaranteed at Celtic, but Ange yesterday confirming that in the next 7 days we'd like to bring 2 in the door. But what 2 will it be? We've not really been strongly linked with any names. There's nobody you can point towards and go, yeah, it'll be him. We obviously got linked with Edouard Michoud. We got linked with him. That was rubbished by Ange. We've been linked with a couple of centre-halves. One of them now looks to be going to Rangers and Ben Davies, so we know it won't be him. But it makes you wonder, like, what 2 players is it? Now, I want to get this up again, sorry. I just took it away and I'm going to get it back up. So the one point that's interesting in this interview, or this press conference, whatever, was this bit here. The squad is looking really good, but in days like today, we want to make sure that we don't lose our effectiveness when a couple are missing. Now, yesterday, we were missing a couple of key players in the form of Karl Starfelt, in the form of Georgios Giacomakis, and even Tony Ralston, as we spoke about here. Tony Ralston out with a cut on his foot, but we know we're missing a couple of players. Mostly, I think the one that he's talking about, I think the interesting part of this is Karl Starfelt. I think Karl Starfelt is, we have lost effectiveness in that area. By the way, thank you very much, Joseph. £5 donation. Oh, Ryan had an amazing week personally. Graduated on my 23rd birthday tomorrow. Heading to Newcastle to see the prodigy. That is fantastic, Joseph. I am very happy to hear that. Thank you for the donation. I hope you have a cracking birthday. Have a pint, enjoy it, and I'm glad that you had a good week, mate. I'm very glad to hear that. Enjoy Newcastle. But I think that one thing, and Hatate as well, thank you to Mark who pointed that out as well. We missed Hatate yesterday. He wasn't in the team. Forgot all about him. But so we missed, I think the 2 areas where we've missed players was the central midfield and the centre-back, mostly. We done fine without Giacomakis. We had Kyogo up front. He looked like he was ready in the game, but we could probably be doing with another striker. We all know that. But mostly, I think that I am very concerned about the centre-half position. I think that's one of the positions that Ange is concerned about. And when he says we've lost effectiveness in places, I think that is one of the areas. Yesterday, Welsh, once again, showing the standard that he is. And I'm not saying that he's bad. I just, is it smart to be relying on Stephen Welsh beyond Karl Starfelt and Cameron Carter-Vickers? Probably not. It's a lot of pressure to put on him too, when he is the only backup option. Also, with Julian and Lawal coming on the park, once again, just being honest, yeah, not the greatest. And Julian's taking a lot of criticism from yesterday's game, and I don't want to say rightly so, but it's understandable. He didn't look too sharp. Apparently headed right up the tunnel as well. But, I think that's the one standout area that Ange will be on about when he says the squad's looking good, but we need to have players in numbers to keep the effectiveness of the team going. And I think that'll be starting with a centre-half this week. I really do. Now, who that will be, I don't know. We can only speculate. And once again, Ben Davies looks to be joining Rangers for a fee of £4 million. I don't think it'll be him. Thank you very much. Very generous donation from Ian Fleming. Thank you. £10. Hi, Ryan. I'm really looking forward to the hot weather in the next few days. Not. You know, I usually love the hot weather. I usually do. I usually adore the sun. It makes me feel better. It makes you want to do things, be productive and such. But I can't stand days like today where there's no sun and it's just heat. It just feels manky, and I feel zapped of all energy. As I said, like I'm struggling to get through this stream. I feel like I'm looking forward to seeing the sun, but it's a very tricky one, Ian, isn't it? It's a very tricky one. Julian, I think is still going to leave this club at some point. Now, I see Julian's career was injury was a career ender. No other team wants him either. Now, of course, the failed move to Schalke was a bit annoying, probably in both for both parties, Celtic and Christopher Julian. Celtic wanted rid of him. Julian wanted to move on. I don't know what happened in terms of the personal agreements with Schalke to fall through, but now he has to look for another move, and I still think he will move on. But simply put, we need to sign a centre-half. We really do need one now. I don't think that there's many options that I could name off the top of my head we should go for or we should consider because, well, I'm not a scout and we do need to shop in very exclusive markets. But there's certainly options out there. As Ange put the other day, there's a whole list of players that Celtic would love to sign, and I don't know what ones he's thinking of off the top of his head, but I'm sure that we do have our eyes on a few, and we'll think of that. Alex, hello Alex, nice to see you. I don't even think it was Welsh. It was when the changes were made, we were ranked rotten. Welsh stepped up to the plate, but still isn't what we need. Yeah, I don't even think it's so much even when the changes happen. I just thought from the very start of the game that Welsh didn't, look great up to the standards. I think that we're just lacking that quality at the back that we need when there is situations like this. Starfelt should be back for Aberdeen. We've been told that. Hopefully he is, but we do need someone else to turn to in times like that. Simply put, Starfelt and Carter Vickers aren't going to stay fit for 38 league games this season. They're not going to stay fit for all of that, plus Champions League games, plus potential European knockouts after Christmas, plus cup games in both cup competitions. They're not going to be fit for every single one of them, and I'm not comfortable with the idea of Stephen Welsh being the one who's called upon to fill in the boots of either or. We need to get that done this week, and I'm very happy that Ange has given us that update. Now, where else could we be improving this week, I suppose, is the big question. What do you think, first of all? What do you think? Let me know in the chat what you think the two players could be in terms of position. I'm not looking for names necessarily, but in terms of, positions and what we could go for. I think that the logical one is CDM and centre-back. I think that a defensive midfielder, a holding midfielder, and a centre-back to end the week would be tremendous. And then hopefully there's space for, I think there's 42 days left in the transfer window. Hopefully there's space in those remaining days to maybe make another signing and enhance the team moving forward or such. But I think that we're all in sort of agreement that a kind of holding midfielder and a centre-back are the two areas that we really do need to improve. Now, there's plenty of centre midfielders we've been linked with as well. But once again, as yesterday you saw, with Hatate out the team, we had to make changes. McCarthy came on later on, put in a crunching tackle. But we need more options. Beaton's away now. We don't have him to call upon when we want to bring in somebody to kind of sit in front of that back line. So I think Ange knows that, and hopefully that is the two that we get in. Desperate for a monster of a defensive midfielder who puts the fear into opposition. I would love somebody physical. And I seen Alex left a comment. We were lacking physically more than anything. Midfield and defence became non-existent towards the end. Also, Forrest is so finished. He's so slow now. I didn't even touch on Forrest from a match review. But that's two very interesting points there. One from Alex and one from, I think it was Ian who I brought up? Mark, sorry, it was Mark. Two interesting points about physicality and a midfielder who can maybe bring that into the team. Blackburn, to no surprise yesterday, were a team made up of jobbers and thugs. Championship English level, they're all a bit dirty. They're all a bit, they'll get stuck in, they'll do what's needed in terms of knocking you around the park, and they did certainly do that yesterday, Blackburn, but we need players who can stand up and match to that, and Celtic don't have a lot of them. Even our centre-halves, Vickers, big guy, don't get me wrong, he's wide, he's really a kind of strong-legged man, you could say. But I think even in terms of height, we've not got true height in the team. I think Matt O'Reilly looks the tallest in the outfield. But we've got, we need more height and physicality. We need to be able to battle with these teams. And especially when we play in Europe, you've got to think about this. We play the likes of, I don't know who will draw, but say you get the likes of an Atletico Madrid, or you get a team from, any team from, Spain, Italy, they all have a bit of grit to them. They all have a bit of fight, and we've seen that firsthand, year upon year in the Europa League, Champions League in years gone by. I feel like we've always, and I think one of them is derby games. I think in recent years, for as good as we can be, and we showed that in the 2 big wins last season, for as good as we can be in these derby games, I always feel like we never match up physically. And I always feel like and I'm not saying we go out and start signing thugs and we go out and start signing players who are going to start knocking lumps out of the opposition, but I think you need players as well in the team, 1 or 2 of them, like a McCarthy, with quality, well, fitness and quality, who can stand up to that and who can fight to that. And I think a CDM with those sort of attributes would be a very good signing for Celtic. So I'm hoping that the two signings over the next week are players like that, a centre-half, a central defensive midfielder, and that would be ideal. And someone saying as well, and I agree, that we need a striker. I think we need a striker as well, but I think that the priorities are elsewhere. I think that, you know, as much as I agree, once again, another comment about a striker, I think that if we ended the window without a striker and we left that till January or further on, I wouldn't be too fussed, because I think that Giakoumakis and Kyogo have enough there. And of course, if both of them got injured at the same time, it'd be a horrendous situation. You'd be left with Albin Ayeti. But I think that we've got enough quality in the attacking areas of the team to kind of make up for that for now. So as long as we sign in the other areas, that would be good. Anyway, that's basically me in terms of talking about the big news. I'll happily take some questions and sit here for a little bit longer and have some chat. There's not much else. We play Legia Warsaw, of course, on Wednesday for Artur Boric's farewell and all that jazz, so that's nice. And we've spoke about yesterday, we've spoke about the potential signings this week, so I think that genuinely we've covered the majority of news that we need to go over. So questions. Steven Gerrard, I seen he was out praising Ange Postecoglou today, and in fact he came out today and said something. I think Gerrard said, let's see, this is Gerrard's quotes, just out of interest in case anybody was wondering. It took a little bit of time for him to implement that, but once the players got used to that, they went on to win the league title and the League Cup, so it was a very successful season for him. He's someone who I've got a lot of respect for and a lot of admiration for, and he's done ever so well, so credit to him. He also said Ange did fantastically well. He came in with his own style. He's obviously got big experience. He's a lot of success through his career, and he comes across a very humble guy. Obviously, I'm Rangers through and through. I want Rangers to do well. I'm sure he appreciates that, but from coach to coach, he's someone that I've got a lot of respect for. So that's what Steven Gerrard said in regards to Ange Postecoglou, who only, you keep forgetting, they only met on one occasion last year, because Gerrard, of course, left in October-November time, so there was only one derby that was played between the two. Gerrard got the upper hand very early on in Celtic's time. Anyway, when was the last time he scored a free kick before yesterday? I could not tell you, Mac. Could not tell you for the life of me. Right, okay, questions and answers. Let's get on to that, a Q&A segment of the show. Let's go for the Egyptian King first, who said, I'm not worried about Ben Davies going to Rangers. He never really cut it at Sheffield. Was he at Sheffield United? When was he at Sheffield? Let me go and check this. Was he? I don't remember him being at Sheffield United. I remember him being at Preston, and I remember him joining Liverpool, where he obviously didn't kick a ball for them. We'll talk about Davies now, because it is an interesting... I'm not here... By the way, can I just clarify right now, this obsession with Calvin Bassey's transfer fee on both sides, give it a fucking break. I don't care. Nobody cares. You shouldn't care. Who cares? Care about the signings you make. Care about your team, your squad. It's annoying on both sides. There's Celtic fans who are just obsessed with the number, trying to break it down. And there's Rangers fans who won't shut the fuck up about it. It's a transfer fee. Who gives a toss? Just wanted to get out there because it's been flooding my Twitter all day, and I'm fed up seeing it. I'm sick of seeing about the transfer fee. It's not that it even annoys me. You know, people are like, oh, you're just a Celtic man, and you're bitter about, Rangers getting money. I'm not. I don't care. I'm just fed up of seeing posts about it and folk arguing about it every 2 seconds, and that's including Celtic fans. Who gives a shit? Celtic have done their business. Let's care about our own. Doesn't matter what Rangers are doing or selling or whatever. In fact, it's a good thing they're selling them. I know that they're getting money, but it's a good sale for Celtic's point of view, because it's one of their better players leaving. Right, okay, let's just quick. What was he? I don't remember him being Ben Davies. Christ, he was at Sheffield United. I never even knew that. Wow, everybody, it was only last year. Wow. Well, okay, I never knew that, and I couldn't tell you how he played at Sheffield United, so I'm not going to overanalyze that or say that I know much. But for someone who, of course, went to Liverpool over Celtic just over a year ago, and now looks as though he could be going to Rangers as well, I'm not too fussed. I'm not overly fussed. I think £4 million is a bit steep for a guy. Liverpool are making profit on him, considering they never played one game for them. I personally wouldn't have wanted Celtic to pay £4 million, but obviously Rangers are in a position now where they can go and spend that on a centre half because they're bringing in 20, 25 million, whatever, for Calvin Bassey. So I'm not too fussed, but I would like us to sign a centre half. He wouldn't have been my first choice for Celtic. I think he certainly could have been a good option, but I'm not overly concerned about him heading to Rangers. That one's done. It's away. It's finished. Thank you very much, Scottish James. I appreciate that. So yeah, Alex saying Bernabeu was a baller yesterday. A lot of improvement to be made, but promising. Disappointed that we didn't get to see Gucci in our best starting 11. I feel like he could have been good for us after a while. I'm hoping that Gucci gets chances throughout the season, but Bernabeu is someone who I feel impressed with so far from what I've seen. I think there is, as you've said, definite room for improvement. I think defensively as well. But yeah, I like the look of him, and this is the first South American Celtic have signed since Raphael Scheitz back in fucking 1998 or whatever. It's got to take an adjustment for him to come into Celtic and hit the ground running straight away. So I hope the expectation levels are at a decent level for the fans, rather than expecting them to be a world beater straight away or anything like that. Elliot, nice to see you, mate. Who is your ideal starting 11 for Aberdeen if everybody is fit? I could run through it so quickly, so easily, I think. Hart, Juranovic, Vickers, Starfelt, Bernabeu. I don't know, maybe I'm going to go with Bernabeu. I'm going to keep the faith. Keep the faith as if the faith has been lost. I'm going to go for that for the back four. Midfield three, I'd go McGregor, O'Reilly and Hatate for my middle three. And then the front three, Maeda, Jota and Giakoumakis. That is my ideal starting 11, but I think there's a lot of room for improvement. Sorry, not improvement. I think there's a lot of room for changes. You could bring you could bring Kyogo in, you could bring Abada in, you could bring other midfielders in as well. We had Turnbull, you could bring Turnbull in, who I thought looked great yesterday. Yeah, I think that, there's a lot of good options for the team. Do you know what the good thing about this camera is, by the way? Doesn't cut out after half an hour. No more of that. No more of, there the camera away. That's gone. Completely gone. You'll be glad to hear. If you're regular to these streams, you'll be glad to hear that. By the way, 415 viewers. Would I take Denier? It's a bit pie in the sky, I would say. I mean, yes, of course I'd take Denier. He's, captain Leon the last couple of seasons. Good player. But, yeah. It's not that I would drop Abada, Mark. I love Abada, and I think he's great, and I think he looked really good yesterday. I just think that Maeda, Jota, and Giakoumakis, the three that sort of ended last season, are best way to start this season. I think Abada will get plenty of time. So, yeah, it's not necessarily that I want to drop him. It's just we've got so many good options that, it makes it difficult. So, yeah. We've actually got a Rangers fan in the chat, Blue Baron, and I welcome everybody, and I welcome everybody. He thinks $4 million is a lot for a 26-year-old that hasn't played. That was my thinking. I was trying my best not to come across as biased, or like, it's a shit signing or anything like that, because it's a decent signing. It is. I just think that £4 million is a little bit steep for someone who's not played a hell of a lot of football. I know he had that loan move that I've just found out there to Sheffield United, but I just think £4 million, I was like, Christ, I think when Celtic were linked with him a couple of years ago, the talk was £2 million, which is double that now when he's played less football than what he was at the time. So I thought that was a bit of a rob, but I think technically he's a good centre-half, yeah, and I think that he'll do a job for Rangers. There's a Mark's starting 11. Maeda's technical ability could definitely be improved. Yeah, I think there's room for that. He loves hitting over the bar, doesn't he? I think his finishing can definitely be taken to another level, Dyson Maeda. I think he just needs to keep taking the time and the effort and keep working harder away at wee things. But he's certainly a good player, and he's certainly got the qualities that we need in an Ange Postecoglou's side. And I think he's more of a winger than a centre forward as well, as I would touch on his finishing just there. Brandon asking, when's the next podcast coming? It will definitely be back this week. We'll go back in and film probably Thursday or Friday this week and get prepared for the kind of start, the last week of pre-season and the start of the season. So they should be back to regular from the next episode. It's just been a kind of... I've not seen the point in dragging the boys out, to be honest with you, if I'm being brutally honest, why it's not been here that much during the summer. I felt bad dragging the boys away out to Wishaw and taking a few hours out their nights when they're busy and they're working and stuff anyway, when there's not an awful lot to talk about. I feel like it would just be a waste of everybody's time when I can sit here and do a lot of it myself on these little stories. So it will be back regularly now. There is things to talk about. It's just about getting back out to the studio and such now. And yeah, I need to fix the microphones from the last time. That was a disaster having to end the show halfway through. We've not done a full podcast technically in like ages because the last one was cut short. Do I think maybe I'd say no. The reason I say no is out of no bad feelings or saying he's not good enough to be. Is Denier available on a free? Is he? Never knew that. Wow. Is he? Is he actually available as a free? I'm going to go and look this up right now. Jason Denier. He's available in free. I mean, I don't think he'd come back to Celtic. I just seen, you know how when like somebody leaves a club or they're linked with somebody, you always get the like welcome to compilations on YouTube. There's a Jason Denier welcome to Fenerbahce 2022. There's always people always make them well, welcome to Celtic. The player never signs. Oh, he is. He's without a club. Oh my, never knew that. Wow, Jason Denier without a club. It's, you know, I would jump at the opportunity of Jason Denier if he was interested, but I don't think he'll be interested in coming back to Celtic. I think that he could go elsewhere. Ralston as captain. No, I don't see it because I don't think you can be captain without having a nailed-on starting place. And Ralston's got no nailed-on starting place. At the moment, it's of course Juranovic. And when Juranovic leaves the club inevitably one day, I don't think Ralston will walk into being the first choice right back either. I think we'll sign again. And I think Ralston knows that it's a hard gig to land. But I think captain McGregor's going to be captain for at least the next 5 years. You would imagine. I think that, you know, McGregor's at what age now? Let's quickly go and look up Callum McGregor's age. I think he's about 28. Callum McGregor now. Christ, we're all getting older, aren't we? McGregor's 29 now. Maybe not quite as long as 5 years. He's just turned 29. But you can see McGregor playing that team until he's 32, 33. Yeah, do you know what? 5 years. And by that point, Ralston, he'll be a suitable age for a captain. But I just think there'll be other players ahead of him in the pecking order to become captain. But yeah. What else is we say? Pat Shuai from Chelsea. I wouldn't knock him back. Available. I think he strikes me as a pure Masonda signing, you know what I mean? Like, we expect the world of him, and then he would come in and he would do like nothing. But he's a guy that, once again, Batshuayi, it wouldn't happen anyway with Celtic. But if there was a realistic opportunity of Celtic going for someone like Michy Batshuayi, I think it's very similar to Jordan Larson in the sense that he would be coming in with an expectation to play a lot of football, and I don't think we could guarantee him a lot of football. Thank you for the donation, Daz. I really appreciate that. 179. What are the hard SPFL games for Celtic next season? Every one of them. Every game is hard. There's no easy games in this league, despite what other people from afar might think. It's a very difficult league to be consistent enough in to win it when there is competition at the top. And Rangers will take us as far as they took us last season. It'll be a tough title to win. So every game's hard. Appreciate the donation, by the way. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think we could attract him back. I think wages would hold us back. Yeah, I don't think... Once again, he'd come in with the expectation of starting every week. Do we give him that? I don't think we'll sign a centre-half who's got that expectation in them to start every week. I think there's got to be someone who's understanding we have a good and settled partnership at the moment, and they're going to get chances few and far between. But they're obviously going to carry some quality. Anything else? Opinion on Siegrist? It's backup keeper, isn't he? You know, I like him a bit personally, but I mean, we're not going to see an awful lot of him. I keep forgetting VR's coming in after the World Cup. That's the wrong comment. I keep forgetting VR's coming in after the World Cup. Not looking forward to it at all. I hate the idea of it. Cameron Archer from Villa, good move. Or Troy Parrott. Troy Parrott's a name that gets thrown about all the time. Could be a good option. Oh Christ, Laxalt. There's a name that I didn't want to hear brought up ever again. But yeah, I think that'll do us for tonight. It's been about half an hour, so for the folk that aren't watching live, are going to watch back in video form. I'll try and keep it generous for them, plus I am roasting. Like, I'm melting here. I feel like I'm going to pass out, so I'm going to go. It's been a pleasure, as always. Make sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. I appreciate all the comments, and we'll have more of these before the season starts as well, so you can get your points across, and we can have a chat together, because I really do appreciate it. Right, cheerio.